screen, I presume.
I can see your screen.
Great. I will set up my
Recording
timer.
has started, so you can start.
I must admit, I really regret I'm last one because it will be very hard to impress you guys, honestly speaking. I wasn't prepared for this kind of high quality content today. Sorry I doubted in you, but I was so amazed by everything I saw today. You're making great things. So I just made a game, uh, actually a Commodore 64 version, because the game creator gets crazy and he is porting it to every existing platform actually. But I'm responsible for Commodore 64 version. The game is called Tony Montezuma's Gold, as you can see. And let's say the publisher was called Monochrome Production because the game was one bit or monochromatic on purpose. But it's no longer a case because just a week ago I have published a free update which added the colors to the game, because there was like a half of the users were complaining there is no colors, and half of the users said don't add colors, please. You'll break everything. So now you have actually a choice. Yeah, you can choose. Yeah, I have spilled my water. That's a bad thing. Okay. Uh, I need a little. Sorry for a moment. This shouldn't happen. Okay. So first, introduce myself. I'm Maciej Malecki from Poland, and this is where I was born. I got my first C64 in 1990. As I said, that was the time that actually we could afford to buy one. That was already outdated machine, therefore we could afford to buy one. And I I mean, I almost instantly wanted to become a programmer and start coding video games. The history went slightly difficult, so I became a professional programmer, of course, but I was just making business apps, and I'm specialist in Java, TypeScript, Kotlin, a bit of Python. Why? You can actually make more money with this. Honestly speaking, than making a video games, even though in Poland we have a few great video games companies. And well, basically, 2016, I got my second Commodore 64, and I went very deep into retro thingies, and I started to write some code. At that point of time, it took a while to publish something, I would say, significant. There is a QR code. You can grab it for my GitHub account. It's a bit of stuff there, maybe not that many. And as you see, I'm also coding assembly. That's 6502 assembly off time after work. Uh, I went so high level at my work, so I was mostly coding assembly the first half of this year, honestly speaking. I haven't coded anything else, maybe except Python. So as I said, I wanted to write a video game, and I had a plan to write a video game which will be like a monumental. So I wanted full scroller, the Turrican class or Metal Warrior, and I even started, and I even published T-Rex 64 Endless Runner game, which has a scrolling screen side, like the easiest thing you can do with the scroll. But then I just entered one of the forums, that the Polish forum C64 scene, and the guy just wrote, I have a game, I'm looking for a coder for Commodore 64. And I looked at the game, it was like a black and white flipped screen game. I said, I don't want to write on the flip screen games. It's really no challenge, but I said, okay, it's 3 months of work. Yeah, graphics looks great, so perhaps somebody will notice. So I took it. Yeah, I took this job, and after 1 year of working, I have published this, which is the monochromatic version of the Tony game. It's flip screen game. I added a little bit of flavor just to be better than Atari, because the game was originally planned for Atari, Therefore, it is monochromatic, because on Atari, the standard Atari, you can have a high-res mode with just two luminance of the same chroma. I just added these highlights on a dashboard to be a little bit, to show that we can display more. But if we wanted, we could display more. So the game is pretty standard, except that it has a very detailed high-res graphics. And honestly, that was the only reason I took this job, because I thought that it has a potential. As you also see, the animation is quite sophisticated, so to say. And this is the timeline. So it took 1.5 years of my life to just end up, and I finished last week to release the full color version. This is only the names of the people that are involved in Commodore 64 version. So it's Rafał Dudek who made the graphic and designed the game. We had two great musicians like Sami Juntunen and Adam Gilmore agreed to compose the music for us. It's actually quite known from gaming. And a lot of testers at a different stage of the project, the different people helped us to test the game, because the game is like 5 levels and 145 rooms. It's a lot to test, and there was a lot of bugs found, and sadly we have to correct some of them because some bugs have been sneaked into. So this is quite big project, even if I look from my professional perspective, if you consider just a single person coding, because the projects I'm normally working like 8, 10, 100 people working on, and it's millions lines of code. This is of course not that big, but it's just a single person who does the coding. And there were some challenges in this game. Therefore, it took me so long to implement it, even though I have thought it's trivial to implement. The amount of animation, just I took the job. The guy Rafał started to send me the specifications, and I looked, oh shit, how am I going to do this? I mean, it's not going to be that simple. Even at one point of time, I was seriously considering using the bitmap mode for this, because I said there's no way I can put that many animations into the single screen. Of course, the memory was the major limiting factor, and I had only 256 characters to use to build the screen if I would like to choose the text mode, which is quite good, because on Atari 800 they have only half of that amount. So the decoder for Atari, he had a really hard time. And the time pressure. So because I'm coding this for somebody else, there is a time pressure. So my advice is never do this. Always do after work, hobby work only for yourself. Yeah. After some, let's say, trials, I decided to use the standard high-res text mode of Commodore 64, because I decided that I will be able to handle all those animations with combined sprites and character graphics. And basically you see what is done how. And there is also a screen split in the middle, so I render the dashboard using different hardset. And again, as I said, another problem was I would like to use the background animations, so I need to reserve some space in the hardset. And Rafał made some of the levels using all 256 characters. Yeah. So how I'm going to do this? And then somebody told me, it's globally used in the level, but is it really the case in a single room? Yeah. So I said, okay, let's try it. And apparently I just used this hardset crunching technique. I have just invented this term yesterday when I was making this presentation. And I'm just rebuilding the hardset for each room when I'm entering the new room. I'm rebuilding this completely, and I'm putting in the free place the extra characters that I need to use to do some animation. And I was thinking this will take a lot of time, but apparently not really. It's really fast. So this is one thing. The second thing is that the levels are huge, and they, of course, do not fit into the memory without any compression. Originally, I have just used running length encoding, but it wasn't very big. But at some point of time, I decided, okay, I had to start Exomizer, the cruncher, to make everything fit for the demo version that was the single file game. And then I saw, okay, if I will just use it to compress every single room. And I did so, and it works. So each time I change the room, I have to decrunch the room from the memory to the screen. I have to rebuild the character set. And now in a colorful version, I need to repaint it for different colors. How long can it take? And I will show you that later. It's really, really fast, to my surprise. Character animation. This is the thing which actually make this project possible. Yeah. And as you see, I'm animating quite a lot of stuff on the screen. And the most impressive are all those moving stones that are, moving from that's the stone traps. And I just made it in a way that I have 8 different phases in the code. Each phase is executed for each frame. And basically each phase is responsible for animating something. So like phase 1 is animating the flames in a potion. The phase number 2 is animating snakes. Or this spider, it has the left and right orientation. Normally when you jump over, it turns to another side. So we need a 2 different set of characters and 2 different set of animations. Those spikes, deadly pikes here, that are also animated with a hard set. I don't know, I think I support up to 8 different pikes on a single screen. And the stones, originally we had 3 stones, but I have discovered I can put I can double this without sacrificing the frame rate. So I just reworked this level and it supports like 6 moving stones, just because I could, not because this is a nice level design, but I just did it. And if you look here at this little screen, this is how much raster time I'm using, and this is the music. This is the game logic that, for my convenience and because I'm lazy, is running completely synchronized with the screen. So at 5 hertz, 50 hertz, or 60 hertz, depending the PAL or NTSC. But by the way, this games works on both NTSC models. The raster time wasn't the problem here. And the animation, everything on the screen is just done here off screen. Yeah, therefore everything looks nice. And basically, this is how it works. So you see those moving stones. We really like this effect. Yeah, it's kind of impressive. And well, yeah, there are sprites flying on. And then you will also see the how much time is needed to repaint the screen. So honestly speaking, not much. The fade in, fade out takes more time than actually repaint the compress the time. Okay, no challenges in raster time. It was easy peasy. No sprites limits. No sprite multiplexing was necessary. Yeah. Disk version, I never did it. Somebody recommended, I think that was Jaskat, recommended me to use Cadaver's fast loader, and it was great choice. Cartridge version for Magic Desk format, it was apparently very easy. And as I said, the room decrunching very fast. Yeah, so saved a lot of memory just to do this. And yeah, just to finalize, I just decided to do the color version. This should be there from the beginning, but because of the time pressure, I wasn't able to put it into the premiere of the game. That was, I would say, June this year. There was very high demand to make this color version. I mean, I knew that in the high-res I could put all the 16 colors. I made a little proof of concept. We liked the effect. There was no impact on performance at all, because basically for Commodore 64, it doesn't really matter how many colors you display. And I just needed a little bit extra memory for code and color map. And because I think this monochromatic version, I had like a 63 bytes left for code. So I had to do some further optimization. And basically this is the color version, yeah, that I have just been. This is almost the same backdrops. I just applied the color. It took me a while to do some experiments and took even more to make this tiny Tony's character look like this. And I would say I had to limit myself because I noticed that I shouldn't be very generous with the different colors to make it look sort of consistent and nice. So I only put it some additional shades on the key or on this jewel or those stones. But besides of that, like the bricks are like a monochromatic. And I think that the effect is quite decent, so to say. And also another challenge, and by the way, the graphician just told me, do the colors for this platform. I have no idea about the limitations, so you will do the best. So the colors is actually my work here. And I also did whatever I could to make each and every of those 5 players to look distinctive. Yeah. So for instance, I ended up with some surprising white color in the pyramid. And I think it looks nice because I just didn't want to repeat myself. Yeah. Just I'm about to finish. I'm actually quite good with the timing. Uh, there was some additional challenges in the color version. I have noticed that also with the monochromatic version, you can change the color from the default black and white to some other schemes by pressing F1 button. And some of the colors like a blue or green had those jailbar effects, very ugly jailbar effects, especially in the first level. And it is because Rafał used the chessboard pattern here on this shadow that you see on the sky. And this is the reason, I mean, you have to be very careful with high-res graphics on, especially on Commodore 64 VIC-2, because it is a bit shitty to render it on a screen, especially on a real CRT. Technically, the VIC-2 is not able to, to raise the Luma level fast enough and then to slow it down. So the single pixels on some monitors can be simply not visible. And sometimes they tend to change the color. You have a color artifacts. And now it is, of course, combined with this typical J-bar effects that we see in a Commodore 64. If you plug it to the LCD display, for instance. So, I mean, I did some experiments and I decided just to replace those chessboard pattern with some horizontal bars. It's, I mean, basically looks very similar, but as you see on the right side, the ugly effect is gone. And if you look below, actually, this is something I was kind of happy. You see these bricks and the ladders, they are only using 2 colors plus black color on the background. But because of the color artifacting, it actually look quite colorful. So I leave it. And yeah, my next productions, when I will decide to use high-res, I will try to use more this color artifacting. It's very interesting thingy. Yeah, this is something I did last, and I was almost it was very frustrating because at the first I thought that this black outline on the main sprite will not work well over the black backdrop. So I have experimented with the several different colors. All was shitty, as you say, failed attempts. So then I tried with I look at the Rick Dangerous Mind Sprite, and I say, okay, they use the black outline. Let's try the black light outline, and this is how it looks. Yeah. So you see how many different frames we have. It's consuming a lot of the VIC bank, and basically the main character is 2 high-res outline and 1 wide stretched multicolor sprite. And that was, of course, also for the mono version, although the multicolor was then all black. If you just to address some of the questions, I coded everything in assembly using Kick Assembler, Exomizer, Cover Bit Uploader system. I'm a big fan of Hardpad Pro, SpritePad Pro, so this is what I use. Retro Debugger, great tool. So this is all I used. And basically, this is everything. I'm super time boxed. This is my second name, time boxed Maciej. This is our web page with a game. We have a publishers. We even have a box edition. This one is for Atari. Yeah, if you'd like to. The color version will be released by this Energy. It's Nocne Retrogranie in Polish, and they made some very, very, very nice limited edition. But you can also grab a digital version if you are not a game collector. I will publish this presentation on my GitHub page. You had the QR code earlier, just in case for some reason you need it. But there will be video recorded soon. So to say, okay, thank you. That's all I have. Sebastian, you are muted. We cannot hear you.
Indeed, yes, thank you. I was muted, software, but also hardware. No, many thanks, Maciej. I had actually a couple of questions, but then you did answer them. It was about the performance. I was not expecting to have indeed something, the Commodore, you have some memory that is available, and then you fill it or you don't. So it's not normally not.
From the three original ports like Atari 800, Amiga 500, and Commodore 64, the Commodore 64 is the most performant version. Don't ask me why. But it's written purely in assembly, and the Amiga version is written in Blitz Basic and compiled. Yeah, so it's that makes the difference actually.
Okay. I don't know if I don't see any question posted in the chat, so at least on Zoom. I don't know if attendees have any questions. If so, then just unmute yourself and ask the question. Maybe
Maciej, if you want to do something on a C128, then yeah, we can talk.
Yeah, definitely. I see that you are a freak of this machine. I have one, the flat one, which is a very chimeric, so to say. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's not. Yeah. I'm thinking also about this machine, but currently I just want to go back to the project I started, and I want to develop the engine. I don't want to repeat anything on this engine, honestly speaking, because I don't think that people should be putting much attention into the flipped screen games for Commodore 64. But yeah, I'm just about this scroller thing. But yeah, the Commodore 128 is despite of its moderate success, it's quite interesting machine. Like a C64 should be like this from the beginning, from the architecture point of view, with this MMU and this kind of stuff, because it's yeah, the C64 is simply not expandable. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly that, because MMU has some underutilized features that people think that C108 is about 80 column mode, but it's in fact you have very nice features in MMU like remapping zero page, remapping the stack.
Yeah.
That gives you some opportunities to speed up things.
Or make a multitasking or something like this. I mean,
exactly right.
Yeah.
So I see nice comments. You're a great coder. I love to see your project, other projects come alive next year. Yeah, maybe you bring them back also here.
Yeah, maybe there will be some demo, but I mean December 2025, because I mean I'm a bit exhausted. I also want to now go back to this my retro build tool that I was presenting some time ago, because I have a lot of features that I need to put into. I mean, this game is a multi-part game, which means de facto, even in kit assembler, it used the linking process, and this everything here is not straightforwardly supported by my build tool. So I would also extend it beginning of next year, and then see. Yeah, let's see. A lot of stuff I have learned, like this cadaver. I mean, if any of you would like to write a multi-part game for Commodore 64, just use the Lassie Orney fast loader V3, which is damn fast, and also it is even faster on SD to EAC because it supports the proprietary fast loader of that one. It's super smart and high quality assembly library. I wasn't even able. It is possible to do something like this.
I see. Actually, I see that I missed a few comments and questions for the other speakers on the Facebook page. But then now I see comments for you here. Great work, Maciej, great stuff. So yeah, everybody seems to like the game, so they will run and buy the box maybe.
Yeah, I mean the demo is for free. It's even open source. You can find the source code on the GitHub. Yeah, this one I perhaps open also sometime in the next year.
Really
But
nice.
it's
And
not
how does it work
substantial.
for
It's not substantially different, honestly speaking, from the demo version. It just contains much more assets and a more complex linking process. Yeah.
But in practice, then you have two different files, right? One for the color version and one for the monochrome.
No. The game has a quite sophisticated menu system, and you have a sub-menu colors, and then you can select I want to play the monochromatic or color version. So it uses exactly the same code. I made only one small regression, which means that there is no fade effect between screens in a color version because simply I had no time and memory to code it properly for the 16 colors stuff, because fading in monochromatic was just trivial, and that's the only difference. Yeah. And you can play either the classic one or the color one.
Wow.
Although the title screen, all the game over screen is all color. I didn't manage to make two versions of it. It will be just, very little value for too much effort.
You give too many options. You're too kind with the user. You know, the next step will be that people will ask you to have Tony only in red or in blue.
Yeah, the Rafał Dudek is a crazy guy, and he is just porting this everywhere. So it will be on PC, on Android, on ZX Spectrum, on Atari Jaguar, this kind of stuff, and people are implementing this game everywhere.
Great.
Yeah.
Good, but many thanks again. I don't see more questions. I see just more comments coming. That is nice stuff. So many thanks again, Maciej. I will stop the
Thank you.
recording.